Hello, everybody, and this is Lord PeteyTV here to give you a little bit of a talk about the Nokhud Offensive. Now, this is going to be the kind of the battles that we end up going through, but I wanted to make sure that you guys know that you got to hit that subscribe button to see when we end up putting out more videos. And I will hope to see you all soon here or on Twitch.tv, Lord PeteyTV, every single Monday through Friday from 3 till 11. All right, talk to you soon. See ya.
Man, I thought hunters had burst, but I guess now, yeah. I'll try to take care of the ballista so we don't have to worry about it.
So the
In
first
front of them,
boss
like
in
clicking on them.
the
So
Nokhud
what's the
offensive
one? Sorry.
is Granith. Now he is a large stone-like proto-drake who ends up having a couple of different abilities. One is Eruption, which he ends up causing a bunch of damage underneath him, damaging all players for 3 seconds. He casts something called
The ballista's
Shards
gonna
of
be the one
Stone,
behind us.
which he expels a number of shards, damaging all the players within 60 yards, and a Tectonic Stomp,
Tell me when.
which he stomps the ground for a large amount of damage to all players
Shot.
within a couple of yards of him and pushing everybody away. Now, during this time, he is going
Now,
to
I
end up
don't know if you
doing
noticed
an
or not, but
ability
they
which
take
he is
increased
going to end up
damage
having to be interrupted, and that is the
during
eruption.
that time.
Now, eruption
The
is
ballista is now
stopped
purple, and
by
then the hunt.
you casting a Dragon Killer Lance from one of the ballistas around the boss.
Tell me when.
Now, during this time, you're going to have saboteurs coming to dismantle those lances. Those
Yeah, it's
people
not that
must
bad
be
right now.
killed first and then continue on the boss.
And doesn't matter, John. I'm just letting it know. But there's no real reason to push that trouble, right?
The second boss in the Not Cold Offensive is going to be the Raging Tempest. The Raging Tempest is a spinning tornado that is in a pool
Nice.
of water. Now, he is going to be able to cast lightning orbs around the room to do damage to you. So, the best thing I can tell you to end up doing is to end up walking around the room and making sure you're collecting these orbs while ending up trying to take the lightning surge that is being placed on you and defeating the orbs also. Now, when doing that, it's going to end up taking the orbs and making them explode and doing damage. Now, the reason why I'm not giving you a lot of the actual technical terms is that when you're in the fight and you end up
Searching
seeing
for
these
you,
orbs,
buddy.
you'll exactly know what's going on. You have to also be careful of the massive lightning strike that is cast from the boss and inflicting damage to multiple different players. Now, if the orbs are struck by the lightning, then the orbs will disappear. Now, the tanks are going to have to worry about a energy surge that's going to be coming off the boss and it's going to be doing increased melee damage to you. So make sure that you are on the boss and you're using your cooldowns and your heals efficiently. Make sure you also do not leave the
Ooh,
melee
there's that.
area of the boss or it will start enraging and hurting other players vastly quickly.
I'm gonna die. On you, Cider. Mm,
Merrick. Now, during this time, both of them have very unique abilities. First, we're going to talk about Merrick. Merrick is going to be tanked, and he's going to end up having to be able to be brought to Tira to allow you to end up cleaving onto her. Now, what ends up happening is at 100 energy, Marok will end up slamming the ground with all of his might, causing the earth to split into two, damaging players for 2 seconds, and that is going to inflict damage to all players within 4 yards of the impact. The Earth Splitter also causes something called Aftershock, which ends up causing a quake in those areas for a couple of moments, which is going to cause a melee speed debuff. Please make sure you're aware of that. He's also going to end up putting out a terrifying roar. This roar is going to end up inflicting damage to all players within 15 yards and fearing them, so make sure you try to keep distance when that happens. Now, as for tanks, please be careful because you're going to have a Brutalize, which is going to be an attack onto you. This is going to inflict a large amount of damage, and it is more than likely going to end up killing you. So make sure you're going to use a defensive during that time, and or moving out of the way so you miss, and you will not get hurt. Now, during this time, Tira will end up doing a Galing Arrow, which is going to do damage to the target. And at that point, when it hit wherever it hits, it's going to end up turning into tornadoes. So be careful of that. She's also going to leap around the room, causing a lot of confusion for where she is. And she's going to end up doing a shot to shooting her bow at a random player, causing a small amount of damage. She will cast something called Repel, which is a gust of wind, which is going to push all of the enemies away from Merrick, and also going to channel a ability to push all of them continuously away from them. So make sure you keep an eye on that.
Really putting out so much burst. I don't. It feels like I'm doing something wrong. Because I mean, I'm doing like 30.
You're just not a bursty class.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
These dudes do the same deal.
I got the one on the right. The one that's going after me.
The last boss is Balkar Khan. Now, he has got 2 stages and a small intermission in between. He actually felt pretty easy to me as a ranged player, so this was not too bad. Now, he ends up having an iron spear, which he ends up throwing at a marked player, causing a small amount of damage and knocking people back from that location. He also charges towards the spear, inflicting damage to all players in between himself and the spear. He also has something called Upheaval, which he flings earth towards players' location, knocking them back, inflicting moderate damage, and causing a quake at that player's location. Now, with Mythic difficulty, the Upheaval will cause a player at that location to have damage if they continue to stand within it. He also does something called Double Strike or Dual Strike to the melee tank. Now, be careful of that because it's going to cause a large amount of physical damage, and it will also cause a bleed. So make sure you end up keeping an eye on that so that you can end up mitigating it as much as you can. He also has a Savage Strike, which actually does very little damage. After phase 1 is over, you're going to go into an intermission phase. Now, this intermission phase is that you're going to have 4 of the little Stormcasters, which are then going to end up coming out, and you're going to end up attacking them. They're actually pretty easy to go down, so you just put them together and AoE them in. Make sure that you interrupt the Stormwinds so that he doesn't end up having any problems, taking multiple damage to players or pushing them away. The Lightning Strike ends up doing a little bit of damage, so it's not too bad. And also a Storm Bolt, which ends up being interruptible, so keep an eye on that. Now, as for phase 2, he's going to have the Static Spear, which is going to end up doing the same thing as before, but he's going to do a little more damage. He's going to have the Iron Stampede, which is going to be the same thing that happened before, and a Crackling Upheaval, which is going to be that he's going to fling the spear towards an enemy, knocking them back, inflicting damage. And the explosion, which happens to end up going to cause damage to that person. So be careful of that. And then you're going to have the Dual Strike, which is going to be the same type of deal, which is going to be the additional damage to the character and to your tank. So be careful of that. And then you're going to have your Thunder Strike, which is going to be the same thing as before, and the Lightning, which is going to be the same as before. So just keep an eye on that. So in phase 3, essentially he's going to be taking his regular spear, and instead of having it be a regular attack, it's going to be a lightning attack. So be careful. And thank you again for checking this out. This is Lord PeteyTV. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.
What was that?
It's his AoE bolt.
Oh, was some bullshit. That's what that was. That's done, everybody.